What is going on, beautiful souls? I'm very excited to dive into this topic of how the subconscious mind, and more particularly depression, correlate into the physical body and our health. Right? We understand through physics that the physical body is a molecular structure that's just vibrating accordingly to your subconscious mind's thoughts, right? The subconscious mind is what creates this entire mass of energy along with your entire reality, right? So people that hold on to the past, right? Their subconscious mind and their focus is on the past. This is where depression starts from, right? Because the past, yesterday and last week and last year, what you did last night, what you did last year, what you did 5 years ago, doesn't matter right now, in terms of it doesn't exist, right? It doesn't have any real existence right now. Now we can have the positive and good memories of our vacations, and we don't forget the lessons that we learned as a consciously living human being. But a lot of the mistakes or bad things that happen in the past, people's egos don't let go, to where you now have depression, right? And through this holding on to something that's dead or doesn't exist anymore, that's where the physical body starts to then decay and go downwards and downwards and downwards. It's why you go to a retirement home with a bunch of old people in their 70s and even 80s, and they're all talking about their regrets and all of the things they wish, could have, should have, would have done. While you also have 60, 70, 80-year-olds out running marathons now in 2023. What is the difference? I just told you, right? The regret, right? Their subconscious mind and their focus is on the past, all of the things that their ego can't let go. Oh, I used to have perfect health. I used to have perfect health. But then why is there an 80-year-old out running a marathon? And maybe that's a little, for some people, maybe subconsciously or where they're starting from, that's a little extreme, and that's fine. It could be a 60-year-old at the gym, 70-year-old at the gym still working out regularly. Now, when you listen to 99% of these 80-year-olds and these old, very healthy, physically healthy old people, you understand when you talk to them that they're going to have good vibes. They're not talking about, oh, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. They're saying, back in the day, I learned this lesson. Back in the day, I really learned not to do that. I learned that we don't do this. I learned that this and this. I understand that, this is how you perform this exercise safely, because I messed up my back in the day, and now I understand, right? Through dissolving the ego, I actually learned. And it's why when you dissolve the ego, you don't give a rat's whatever behind about failure. You embrace failure, right? And there is no regret. There is no shoulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's a very powerful quote someone told me back, or an old version, lifetimes ago, that while driving Uber, that one of the 30 jobs that I mastered, that, now you know. Life-changing quote, right? Now you know. Dissolve the ego. Now in this present moment, you know. And that's the thing, right? Every minute and second you spend focusing on the problem is a minute or a second that you could have been spending focusing on the solution, the answers. So from a intelligent standpoint, right, smart, from being a smart, if you want to be smarter, then you need to start telling yourself and repeating it until it becomes a habit, right? That I'm not going to spend even a minute focusing on crying or complaining about the problem. I may focus on the problem to understand it, which is where a lot of people go wrong, right? It's a very fine line between successful and non-successful and depression, right? You can focus on the problem to understand it, but don't focus on the problem just to complain about it and be a crybaby. Instead, be smart about it, right? Be smart about it. Understand the problem. Don't just know the problem. Actually understand the problem, aka the root. And then you focus on the solution, and you spend all of that time focusing on the solution instead of wasting that time, right, complaining and crying about what coulda, shoulda, woulda. You be smart about it. You understand the problem, and then you focus on the solution, and you grow into something greater than the problem. Don't just, and this is why some people never get sick. I've only had 2 issues over the last, I'm not even vaccinated. I travel all over the world with perfect health. It all starts in the subconscious mind right here. Doctors prescribe these pills that only suppress the problem. They don't actually solve the real problem in the subconscious mind. If you have a healthy subconscious mind, the body will always follow that energy that you are creating. This is just a molecular structure that's the faithful servant to the mind. And I'm not going to lie and say it's easy. You got to listen to, for some people, it's going to be a very long journey. It's going to take a couple of years of listening to subliminals and reprogramming a healthy subconscious mind that doesn't complain and cry. But if you want to just let go of that for a moment, all of the, technical stuff, and just be real, like I am your big brother or big sister, right? You got to ask yourself, we as human beings have a blessing. You have the ability to stop and think and respond to the exterior world, to respond to life. You as a human being have the ability to not just think and respond to life, but to be self-aware of your emotional state, and then to decide, right, where you want to direct your emotions, what emotions you need to change through self-awareness as a human being. The cats and the dogs, they're just reacting. They're not responding. They're not thinking and responding. They're not self-aware and able to decide through free thinking. It's only free when you discover yourself on the inside. They don't have that ability. I love cats and dogs. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have the ability to decide, are you going to embrace your gift as a human being and what it means to be a human being? Or are you going to be disrespectful to yourself and just run around life with like a chicken with its head cut off? And just complaining, crying, complaining about this, honking your car at silly, stupid things that are not even personal. Now, before I turn this into a rant, let's get back on track. So, as I mentioned, you have the ability to choose through free thinking. When you discover yourself on the inside, it becomes free will, free thinking, that I am going to listen to positive subliminals. I am going to choose that I am going to think and respond. I am going to choose to keep repeating that I am going to focus like a smart person on understanding the problem and then focusing on the solution. I am going to dissolve my ego and just embrace that now I have more wisdom. Now I have more growth through understanding and learning from the failure. And this is where depression comes from, right? Their subconscious mind is running in the past, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Their ego, most of the time, their ego is holding them back from actually learning and growing. Sometimes it's not the ego, it's just that they haven't learned or understand how to think and respond to life. They don't understand how to be self-aware and that we can choose to direct our own emotions, right? We can choose what we're going to watch. We're going to choose if something's good or bad in terms of music or lyrics that are being replicated into the subconscious mind. I'm not saying we need to BS ourselves and say we live in a perfect, jolly good world filled with sunflowers on every single corner of the street. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying we can choose inner strength. We can choose to be strong. We can choose to be smart and dissolve the ego, right? Through self-love. This is where this is all generating from, right? And then through that, you just keep building and growing, not from the subconscious mind first. Do you want to know how I achieve physical results so fast? And a lot of people with their subliminals, it's because they have a good operating subconscious mind. And it's why I say start with the self-improvement first until you're able to operate to a point where you are literally limitless. You can do absolutely anything because your entire vibration is just so aligned with the vibration of appreciation that all of the prophets just created limitlessly on. And they're, oh, Seiluke, come on, we're not all going to be Jesus. It's not that difficult, guys, if you understand how the subconscious mind works, how powerful it is, and you're willing to put in the time. Because a couple of years of reprogramming is, trust me, worth the 100, and even some experts now say even longer that we have ahead of us. You all have a beautiful day.